Hi, my name is Keith Lepsch. I'm one of your county councilors, and I'm here to give you an update on last night's meeting, which was a work session, essentially. We started out with two proclamations. We declared November as National Native American Heritage Month. Separately, we did a proclamation highlighting week of November 6th as Operation Greenlight for Veterans. Ted Wyka from NNSS gave an update from the lab. I look at it as Ted is the government employee that supervises the contracts out at the lab for both Triad and N3B. So his update talked about how they're switching to operations versus construction, although last week we got an update that there's still significant construction that they'd like to complete, but that construction that they were speaking about last week is mostly upgrading and renovating older facilities, not building new construction such as the pit production. They also talked about addressing traffic in Los Alamos. We've had several presentations on that. They are trying to alleviate some traffic by allowing some people to detour through White Rock to the lab, a pilot project for a bus service from Pewaukee with more bus services planned, and a big push for injury prevention and safety. Lanel is coming out with their environmental impact statement. They have had public comments to include the Pueblos. They're preparing the final statement for additional public input, and that will happen later this year. They are working on a third electric delivery line that will service not only the lab, but the county. That will give us a total of 3 electrical lines bringing power to our community. Tritium Waste Disposal is working for approvals, and when they have all of their approvals and an approved plan for disposal, they will provide additional updates and allow for public comment. About 25% of their total waste, they believe, has been transferred essentially mostly to WIP, and they hope to decrease the amount of waste that's being stored at the lab. The last update he had is the fire department in Los Alamos County have the cooperative agreement renewed with the lab, where the county will continue to provide the fire protection service to the lab. This is a huge benefit to both the lab and the county, I believe. Much of our fire service, which is an amazing group, is paid for by lab dollars because they also get the benefit of having the fire support, but it also benefits the community very much, I believe. We had updates from 4 of our boards and commissions. The first thing was LTAB, which is Lodgers Tax Advisory Board. Jen Olson was who gave our update on that. For those of you who are unaware, there's a state law that 5% of the base hotel or overnight room rates are collected, and it goes to the LTAB or equivalent in each county. And they're charged with spending that money to increase visitation and tourism in the county. They gave a nice graph showing that year over year, revenues continue to increase for our LTAB. In the week, hotels are almost completely full, so they're looking to try to see what they can do to increase weekend stays and also looking to have a better experience for visitors. Some of the things that they've done this last year include a refresh of the White Rock Visitor Center. New wayfinding signs are coming soon, and a huge project with the Oppenheimer movie, so Project Opie, to coincide with Oppenheimer the movie, to showcase our town and increase tourism. Next was the Personnel Board. Dave Hampton is the chair of that board, and he gave the update. The Personnel Board serves as appeals for county staff, not in bargaining units. And as a side note, apparently there has been no appeals going to the Personnel Board this entire last year. So I think that really speaks volumes to us having an excellent HR department that must be fair and reasonable and appropriate in the county. Secondly, they advise on personnel rules, and they also provide citizen input. Just so you all know, the public is welcome at all board and commission meetings. And one of the primary responsibilities for all of those boards and commissions that we have is to bring citizen input to the county council. So that is a mechanism for anybody who has any specific interest. Please find your appropriate board or commission and feel free to attend the meeting. And many of, not most of them, are also available to attend remotely on Zoom, so it should be very easy for you to attend. The third board and commission was Art in Public Places. Stephanie Hauser gave the update on that. 1% of all capital projects, the funding goes to engage art in the architecture of our municipal structures. They showcase some of the recent installations at the airport, at the library, and something that they're working on coming to the Aquatic Center Leisure Lagoon. They are having active discussions as to what the best way to appropriate art is, but they gave some examples of how they do look for art projects. So, for example, at the airport, there was a request for something that might decrease sound levels in the terminal building, so they looked for fiber-based projects that would do some sound absorption for that project. The last board and commission was Planning and Zoning. Rachel Adler gave that update. Planning and Zoning reviews development of land use applications. Last year, one of their biggest accomplishments was the assistance with the collaboration of County Council to completely renovate Los Alamos County Development Code, Chapter 16. So that's the development code, the zoning code, if you will. Some of their big projects that they have approved this last year, and hopefully you all will be doing math at home as to how many new housing projects have been approved. There is, I think they call it Arbola over on North Mesa. It's going to be 85 single-family lots. The old Merrimack, which is the old Smiths, has been approved with residential and commercial mixed use, with a total of 320 residential units, most of which will be apartments. I believe there's also plans for some townhousing type units. I've seen the proposed pictures, and I think that's going to look real nice. Lastly, on Canyon Road, where the old visiting nurses building used to be, they have approved a mixed-use development, which would include 160 residential units and commercial spaces. I'd like to add specifically on that project, when it was first proposed, the Jewish Center, which abuts the project, had some concerns. But I think, a testament to the way I'd love to see things work, the Jewish Center got together with the developers and collaboratively worked out an agreement that was mutually beneficial to both of them. And by the time the project came in front of County Council, because there was an appeal from the initial Planning and Zoning Commission, all the parties stood up and said, we support this to include the Jewish Center. So I think that's a really great when communities can get together, talk about their concerns, and find a mutual agreed solution. At this point, we suspended the rules from the work session to do a little bit of business. So one of our counselors had requested that the National Association of Counties for us to endorse 4 specific policy proposals for them to try to advocate for. The first one was include more clean energy, so renewables and clean energy. That would include things such as hydropower if possible. Solar, wind would be the big contributors for that, perhaps some geothermal. As an aside, our Public Works Division is exploring the possibility of using some geothermal energy for renewable carbon-free power in the future. That's in the exploratory phase, I believe is fair to characterize that right now, but I think that's great that they are looking towards that. Second policy, to advocate for long-term safe storage for both hazardous and radioactive waste. Third policy is supporting nuclear waste recycling, similar to, I think they're thinking similar to what they do in France with the reprocessing of spent nuclear fuel. And finally was encourage the Department of Energy to develop grant pilot programs to assist communities that are affected by the presence of Department of Energy facilities, such as our national lab, such as with things such as schools, infrastructure, housing, traffic, and um, things such as that. So I think those are reasonable policies to pursue, and I am supportive of all 4 of those. And then the last one was just kind of an administrative item. The Loma Linda Road project has reached a point where they're concerned if they continue to try to go right now, if the weather turns cold, they will partially rip up the road and not be able to repave it. Therefore, they asked permission to suspend that until the spring. Apparently the concrete work is complete, but rather than tear up the road and leave the possibility of a non-paved road over the winter, they're just going to put the project on hold. This apparently was mutually agreeable between the county, the contractor, and the state, which is providing significant funds for us to do that project. Again, I thank you so much for letting me give you an update. And again, my name is Keith Lepsch. Thank you so much.